Maps are everywhere. They are an integral part of our daily lives, guiding us through unfamiliar territories and helping us make sense of the world around us. We use them every day, often without even realizing it. Whether it's finding the quickest route to work, planning a vacation, or simply exploring a new city, maps are our constant companions. They help us navigate, understand our world, and plan adventures. From the detailed topographic maps used by hikers to the colorful world maps that adorn classroom walls, each map serves a unique purpose. Maps show us where things are. They provide a visual representation of our surroundings, highlighting important landmarks, roads, and geographical features. They tell us how to get from point A to point B. With the advent of digital maps and GPS technology, finding our way has never been easier or more precise. They reveal the shapes of continents and the locations of countries. These maps help us understand the vastness of our planet and the diversity of its landscapes. Maps are powerful tools that give us a glimpse of our planet. They allow us to see the world from a bird's-eye view, offering a perspective that is both awe-inspiring and informative. But what if I told you that maps don't always tell the whole story? What if the images we rely on to understand our world are actually misleading? What if the maps we rely on actually distort reality? This is a question that has puzzled cartographers and geographers for centuries. It's true. The process of flattening around Earth onto a flat map creates distortions. These distortions can affect our perception of the world in significant ways. These distortions can be misleading, especially when it comes to the size and shape of countries. For example, Greenland often appears much larger on maps than it actually is in reality. In this essay, we'll explore the shocking truth about maps and how they can deceive our perception of the world. We'll delve into the history of map making and the various techniques used to create different types of maps. We'll focus on the distortions that affect the southern hemisphere, a region often depicted as smaller and less significant than it truly is. By examining these distortions, we can gain a better understanding of the biases and limitations inherent in our maps. Imagine trying to flatten an orange peel. You can press it down, but it will crack and tear. You can't make it perfectly flat without distorting its shape. The same problem arises when we try to represent the Earth, a sphere on a flat map. Creating a flat map of the Earth is like trying to make that orange peel lie flat. It's impossible to do without some stretching, squeezing, or tearing. Mapmakers use different projections or mathematical formulas to transform the Earth's curved surface onto a flat plane. Each projection has its own strengths and weaknesses, and each one introduces some degree of distortion. One of the most common map projections and the source of much controversy is the Mercator projection. The Mercator projection, while useful for navigation, greatly distorts the size of land masses as they get closer to the poles. For example, Greenland appears almost as large as Africa, when in reality Africa is about 14 times larger. Other projections, like the Robinson, Gall-Peters and Winkel-Triple, attempt to reduce these distortions but come with their own trade-offs. Throughout history, the quest to create accurate maps has been a balance between preserving shape, area, distance and direction. No single map projection can perfectly represent the Earth's surface, so cartographers choose based on the map's intended use. Understanding these projections helps us better interpret the maps we use every day, whether for education, navigation, or understanding global issues. So next time you look at a map, remember the challenge of flattening that orange peel and appreciate the complex art and science behind it. Maps are more than just tools. They are windows into how we see and understand our world. The Mercator projection was created by Gerardus Mercator, a Flemish cartographer, in 1569. His goal was to create a map that would be useful for navigation. The Mercator projection achieves this by ensuring that any straight line on the map represents a course with a constant bearing. This feature was invaluable for sailors navigating by compass. However, this navigational advantage comes at a cost: distortion. The Mercator projection severely distorts the size and shape of land masses, particularly at high latitudes. Countries near the poles appear much larger than they actually are, while countries near the equator are relatively accurate in size, but appear stretched horizontally. One of the most striking examples of Mercator distortion is the representation of Greenland. On a Mercator map, Greenland appears to be the same size as Africa, or even larger. In reality, Africa is 14 times larger than Greenland. This distortion is not limited to Greenland. Alaska, for example, appears much larger than Mexico on a Mercator map. In reality, Mexico is larger than Alaska. These distortions can create a misleading impression of the relative sizes and importance of different countries. Section 5. The Southern Hemisphere shrunk and skewed. While the Mercator projection distorts all land masses to some extent, the Southern Hemisphere suffers the most. This is because the Mercator projection is centered on the equator, which means that distortions increase as you move away from the equator towards the poles. As a result, countries in the Southern Hemisphere, particularly those in South America, Africa, and Australia, appear smaller and less significant than they actually are. This distortion has had a profound impact on our perception of the world, often leading to a Eurocentric view that minimizes the importance of the Southern Hemisphere. Section 6, Brazil versus the USA, a tale of two maps. Let's consider a specific example, Brazil and the contiguous United States. On a Mercator map, the contiguous United States appears significantly larger than Brazil. However, if you were to compare the two countries on a globe, you would see that Brazil is actually much larger than the contiguous United States. This distortion is not just a matter of size, it also affects our perception of shape. Brazil, with its long coastline and varied geography, appears squashed and compressed on a Mercator map. This distortion fails to capture the true scale and diversity of the Southern Hemisphere. Section 7, Beyond Mercator, exploring other projections. Fortunately, the Mercator projection is not the only option. Cartographers have developed many other map projections, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. Some projections prioritize accuracy in representing area, while others focus on preserving shapes or distances. By exploring these alternative projections, we can gain a more accurate and balanced view of the world. We can move beyond the distortions of the Mercator map and appreciate the true size, shape, and significance of all countries, regardless of their location. Section 8, Gall-Peters, Robinson, and more. A map for every purpose. The Gall-Peters projection, for example, accurately represents the relative areas of countries, but it distorts their shapes, making them appear stretched vertically. The Robinson projection attempts to strike a balance between area and shape accuracy, resulting in a visually appealing map that is often used for general reference. The azimuthal equidistant projection preserves distances from a central point, making it useful for aviation and navigation. Each projection offers a different perspective on the world, highlighting certain features while compromising others. By understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each projection, we can choose the most appropriate map for our needs and avoid being misled by distortions. Section 9. The power of maps. Shaping perceptions of the world. Maps are not just tools for navigation or geographic reference, they are powerful instruments that shape our understanding of the world. The way countries are depicted on a map can influence our perceptions of their size, importance, and relationship to other countries. For centuries, maps have been used to promote certain ideologies, justify colonialism, and reinforce power structures. The Mercator projection, with its Eurocentric bias and its exaggeration of the Northern Hemisphere, has played a significant role in shaping a worldview that often marginalizes the Southern Hemisphere. Section 10. Maps and Propaganda, a history of distortion. Throughout history, maps have been used as tools of propaganda, deliberately distorting reality to serve political agendas. During World War II, for example, both the Allied and Axis powers used maps to exaggerate the size and threat of their enemies, while minimizing their own vulnerabilities. Even today, maps are often used to promote specific viewpoints or agendas. For example, maps showing the distribution of natural resources or military bases can be presented in ways that emphasize certain aspects while downplaying others. It is essential to be aware of these potential biases and to critically evaluate the information presented on maps. Section 11, Beyond the Lines, questioning what we see. As we have seen, maps are not neutral representations of reality. They are products of human choices influenced by historical context, cultural perspectives, and technological limitations. It is crucial to approach maps with a critical eye, questioning the choices made by cartographers and considering the potential biases that may be embedded within them. By understanding the limitations of maps and by seeking out diverse perspectives, we can develop a more nuanced and accurate understanding of our world. We can move beyond the distortions and appreciate the true complexity and interconnectedness of our planet. Section 12. A world to explore. Embracing the full picture. The shocking truth about maps is that they don't always show us the world as it truly is. Maps are powerful tools, but they come with their own set of limitations and biases. They can distort our perceptions, reinforce biases, and limit our understanding. Historical maps, for instance, often reflect the perspectives and prejudices of their creators, leading to exaggerated or minimized regions. But by recognizing these limitations, we can use maps more effectively and responsibly. Critical analysis and open discussions about the content and context of maps can help us uncover hidden truths and challenge preconceived notions. Let us embrace the challenge of seeing the world from multiple perspectives, of questioning assumptions, and of seeking out the full picture. By doing so, we can gain a more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of our world. Let us use maps as tools for exploration and discovery, for fostering understanding and appreciation of our planet and its diverse people. Maps can guide us to new places, introduce us to different cultures, and help us appreciate the interconnectedness of our global community. The world is a vast and fascinating place, full of wonders waiting to be explored. From natural wonders to cultural landmarks, every corner of the globe has its own unique story to tell. Let's not let distorted maps limit our vision. Instead, let's strive to correct and adjust our maps, both literal and metaphorical, to better reflect the true diversity and richness of our world. By working together and sharing our diverse perspectives, we can create a more accurate and inclusive representation of our world. Let's embrace the full picture and celebrate the beauty of our shared human experience.